Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Steven. Well, I felt a tutorial website wasn't complete without a tutorial on how to design a website. So I thought we would go about making a game website, and it's going to be for Call of Duty World at War. And unlike a lot of other tutorials, I'm going to show you from start to finish. And the first tutorial is going to be on creating the header. So right away I went to Google and I just got a few World at War pictures, and these three are what we are going to be using today. So let me just drag all three of these right into Photoshop, and I'm going to make a new document, and I usually like to start at 960 by 900. Background, I'm just going to leave it at transparent and click on OK. Alright, now I like to start off with a gradient background, so I'm going to just type in these colors that I picked earlier, and it's going to be a dark blue at first. Okay, I'm going to add it to my swatches, and dark. Okay, and then I'm going to make a light blue. I'll just click OK, come down here and make a light blue, which is this. You don't have to use these, it's just what I like. And we'll call it OK. Click on OK, and let's reverse that. And go over to your gradient tool. Make sure this one's selected, foreground to background. And now I'm not going to save it. And then I'm just going to click and drag. Let's see. Something like that, that works. And then I'm going to come on over to these two pictures and going to drag and drop this one on. Let me close that, and I'm going to drag this to the left side. This one is going to be to the right side. Now right away when you look at this, you can see that number one, they're not the same size, and number two, they're not the same colors. This one is a bit darker. So the first step we're going to do is select this top layer, which is this right side, and go over to Image, Adjustment, and Match Color. For your source, I'm going to choose Untitled, which is this document, and layer is going to be layer 2. And you can see it's a pretty good match right there. Let's see if we can mess with this a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, so let's see, I'm going to go with that. Okay, let's make a new layer right above everything. Click D to reset your colors. Select your brush, and I'm going to make a big brush, a little bit bigger with hardness all the way down. And then I'm going to just draw around here like a shape all the way around it. And then filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'll just leave it at 12. Then select layer 2, which is this left side. Come over to your marquee tool, right click, transform selection, and just drag that over. Then go to select, inverse, and select this layer 3, delete, and layer 4, delete. Control D to deselect. I think I made this a little bit too large, so let's, and then darken that corner up there. Oops. Okay, let me lower this opacity just a little bit, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, we have one more image I want to drag onto here, which is this Call of Duty. I'm going to drag it right into there and add a layer mask. Grab your paintbrush, make sure black is your foreground color, and I'm just going to erase some of this, soften the edges. And then once again I'm going to come on over to Image, Adjustments, match color, untitled, and layer 3 probably works. We'll leave it at that. Okay. And let's drag this layer 3 underneath layer 2. Drag this title all the way to the top. To about there. Go back to layer mask and let's make sure this rifle is completely visible. And let me soften that edge a bit. And then one last step is going to be softening this hard edge right here. So what I'm going to do is create another layer mask. Have your paintbrush, and I'm just going to paint a little bit over here. It's okay if you start erasing his head a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Paint a little bit here. Come back to layer 2, the layer mask, and change your foreground color to white, and just paint back his head. Make sure you don't get that hard edge. And then one thing I'm going to do is select all these layers, and I'm going to hold shift and drag it up so this header isn't as large. Let's bring this down to about there. Go back to layer mask and let's Control Z, let's reverse it so your foreground is white, and let's paint a little bit of this back. Okay. X again to reverse it. Make your brush a little bigger. Let's erase some of this again, just to tidy it up a bit, and then the rifle again. Okay. Now one more step I want to do is come back to this black layer with the black shadow going around, and just paint a little bit of the shadow back on top. Let's drag it to the top. Go to Filter and Gaussian Blur again. Select both of those layers, select Inverse Delete. Control D, and I'm going to lower the opacity. Alright, so let's make a new layer, and then I'm going to grab a red color. That's probably good. Select both of these layers and grab your gradient tool. And make sure it's red to nothing. Hold down shift and drag up. A little bit higher, that's probably good. Control D. And then I'm going to change this blending mode to color dodge and lower the opacity to about 40%. Okay. And now let's do one more thing. I'm going to combine both of these, Control E, lower this opacity just a little bit, and then let's add a frame around it, stroke, and I'm going to make this color, which is going to be the main part of our document later. You'll see, it's going to be this light green color, so it is 737E5B. You can add that to your swatches, and I'll name it Green Light. Okay. I'm going to make the stroke on the inside. Okay, we'll worry about the red going over it later. I'm going to make it a 2 and click OK. Let's select a box and delete. Delete. And delete. Okay, so we don't have the red on that anymore. Do the same thing with the black layer. and there you go. Zoom out, and there is the makings of the header for our website. Next tutorial will be showing how to make the navigation bar and possibly the main content area. We'll see how far we get. Alright, so hopefully you learned something from this, and see you next time.